Hello, Contrarians, friends, listeners, watchers, whoever you are that somehow found yourself here on the pre show to our anniversary episode. Here we are after 8 years of podcasting, heading into year number 9. Uh, the way we celebrate this is listeners that have been with us for a while know is we just hand out awards. And for the bulk of those awards, you can check out the main episode, which should be on your feeds right now. Uh, for the VIP section of those awards, you can check our Patreon channel, where we give special awards to the movies that we only covered on the Patreon channel. But here, on the video part of the podcast, we're going to give also some exclusive awards that you can't find anywhere else. This is our MTV part of the night.
Yes.
We're going to give awards to Best Kiss, Best Fight, Best Musical Number, and Best On-Screen Duo. And this, of course, will go to one of the movies that we covered over the past 12 months. So we're not going to give you the whole list, just starting from Mad Max Fury Road all the way to the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn, Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we cover in between those is eligible. You guys can vote on your own, but what we're saying here is this is the law. This is where the award goes. Of course, Alex may give the award to someone, I may give it to someone else, but that's part of the fun. Let's get into it, because it's going to be a long night, much like every Oscars and other award ceremonies. We're going to start with Best Kiss. As we do with the main ceremony, I have a couple of runner-ups, and then I have a winner. So, Alex, I'm going to hit you with my first runner-up, which is a joke runner-up.
Okay.
And this is Rick Mayall and Phoebe Cates and Drop Dead Fred.
Yep. I almost went there too, but
I mean, it's not the best kiss. It might be one of the most memorable kisses for all the wrong reasons. So that's why I didn't feel comfortable giving it the award. But I think we have to shut it out. Did not expect that movie to reach its climax with this woman having a smooch with her imaginary friend. It was really weird. Number 2, another honorable mention. Matt LeBlanc and Heather Graham in Lost in Space. They almost get there halfway through the movie, and then once we're heading into the third act, she finally gives him a good luck kiss. Pretty chaste, but still worth pointing out. But my award for Best Kiss, Alex, is going to go to a movie that we are not part of the target audience for, but we didn't hate it. It's hated in some circles. And this is Doctor Who, the movie. Paul McGann and Daphne Ashbrook. Paul McGann plays the Doctor. I know very little about the Doctor. You know even less. There's a chance that we know even less about the Doctor after watching the movie than before we watched it. Yeah. But I think that the one thing that we agreed on was that Paul McGann was going for it. He was pretty charming. And I really liked that kiss was one of those moments where you were able to tell that his incarnation of the Doctor was very different from anything that had come before. That this Doctor makes out, and that's commendable. So Paul McGann, Daphne Ashbrook, collect your award, kiss once more, and let's hear what Alex has to say.
So I mean, yeah, I didn't really have much in the way of runner-up. Preston and Amanda in Can't Hardly Wait was good, and then Jennifer Goodwin and Justin Long, when they finally kiss, it feels like it was warranted. I mean, anyone that listened to our episode on it knows how much I love Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yes.
And it's not even like a full-on smooch. Kermit just kisses Piggy on the cheek at the end of it, but it's also accompanied with one of my legitimate all-time favorite lines in a film about love and romance is, what better way could it end than side by side with a friend? And then they like turn into the moon and then fade into the. Yeah, it's fucking perfect. But no, I mean, and I love gimmicks at my award show. So get Kermit and Piggy on stage to accept this, and I think you got your moment for the night there.
I had high hopes that you would go to bat for the Muppets here. I thought about Piggy and Kermit, and I couldn't really decide. Like I couldn't remember when is it that they kiss and in which movies, and
Hmm.
out of those, like which one would be my favorite. So I was like, I'll let Alex sort it out, and I'll go with Doctor Who. So it worked out. So Alex, it's your turn.
Yes, being the combat sports aficionado, the boxing, kickboxing, mixed martial arts guru. In fact, I had Julio over to my house on Saturday to watch a UFC event. He didn't get much from that, but it was
It was good
it.
food.
There you go. It's only appropriate, being all that in mind, is that I introduced the category of best fight. We definitely had a lot of fighting covered in the past year, be it Avatar, the Battle of the Na'vi, and the dreaded humans, or there was a good shootout at the end of the Guard. Pan's Labyrinth's got a pretty heavy amount of violence. What else do we have in here that had some good back and forth action? I mean, you got some space battles in Lost in Space, Scream 2. Almost Heroes has the big fracas at the end of it.
Oh,
Last
that's
Action
right.
Hero obviously is crammed full of some good stuff. Robert Pattinson assaults a seagull in the lighthouse, so you have that there. Uh, for myself, just kind of the honoraries. There's some pretty intense action in Wake and Fright. There's a basically fight scene that turns presumably sexual. That's pretty intense,
Nothing presumable about that.
uh, and then the conclusion of Psycho, where Loomis comes in, because that constitutes kind of as a fight.
Which Loomis? Are we talking Vince
Not
Vaughn versus Viggo Mortensen?
No, we're talking OG Anthony
Damn
Perkins
it.
in there as what does he say? Norma Bates. He comes screaming, and they put an end to that. But my fight scene of the past year in the Contrarians goes to the team brawl in semi-pro, where Jackie Moon is trying to curry up favor with the league and the commissioner, and Monix, Woody Harrelson, almost gets into a fight with another player who calls him a pussy, and he stops him and he says, "Just wait for the commercial break." And then when it cuts to the commercial, somebody hit somebody, and it just turns, Why Can't We Be Friends starts playing, and you get Matt Walsh getting dragged around, and all the while, fucking Will Arnett, and who's the other fellow, the commentator, the announcer?
Andy. No, it's not Andy Dick. Jesus. Thank God. No, it's Andy Daly.
Andy Daly and Will Arnett are commentating everything that's going on. Then it's like cut with what people at home are seeing, and it's advertisements for Shasta. And there's just this particular shot I find very funny. Will Ferrell, he just runs at one of them with his shoe and just hits him with the heel of it as hard as he can. It's a pretty memorable scene in Semi-Pro, and a movie filled with memorable scenes, and a movie that we put over pretty strong on our episode, and also in some of the awards we gave out this year. But physical comedy at kind of its finest, and the way it was set up too, it didn't feel out of place. So, Julio, that's we went a lot of places with action and fighting this year. Where'd you end up settling?
I'm surprised that you didn't even give a tiny mention to the climatic battle at the end of the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn, which
Because it didn't happen.
it happened in our hearts. We saw it. We experienced it, and they went away.
Elizabeth Reeser died. It was too much for me to handle, man.
Just block it out of your mind. All right, so I went a little more personal. Mine are one-on-one, except for my actual winner, which is a little more, slightly more epic. Dazed and Confused, Adam Goldberg gets pummeled, gets beaten to a pulp because he tried to stand up for himself. And in a way, you could argue that made him a better man by the end of the night. But I don't remember. You are the Dazed and Confused guy. Do you know the name of the guy that beats him up?
No.
He's known as guy who beats up Adam Goldberg.
Exactly.
Dazed and Confused. But anyway, that was in consideration. Also in consideration, yes, the Lighthouse, not Pattinson versus a seagull, but Pattinson versus Willem Dafoe, and that was another battle that had sexual undertones, I think. But of course, in that case, it ended in just much more graphic tragedy, I think. But the winner goes to the first movie we covered this year, and a movie that we generally sneer at. But if I have to be honest with myself, and this one's this was just for the fans, for the mainstream audience. This is the Academy nominating, I don't know, The Blind Side. Uh, Mad Max Fury Road has a
That's fair.
pretty badass fight between Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron, and Nicholas Hoult, where they're constantly kind of like switching sides. That's when everybody comes together at the end of the final chase, and you know, Holt is holding Tom Hardy, but he's also chasing Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron is fighting Nicholas Hoult, but also Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy just wants to get the hell out of there, and then all the other brides are just watching in horror. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool sequence. A shame that the rest of the movie has no heart, but at least
Yeah.
we can say, hey, there's merit in all the action and how well it's shot and edited and everything else.
This is our Wolfman winning best makeup in
Yes.
2010, 2011, whatever that was.
Yep. All right. Now back to me for the musical category, musical number. And at first, Alex, I was thinking, man, maybe we should expand this to just musical sequence, because I just off the top of my head, I'm like, we didn't have that many musical numbers, and then I realized, wait a second, we covered a whole bunch of Muppets movies.
Yeah.
And then even removing the Muppets from the competition, there's a few solid musical performances. So I'm actually going to remove the Muppets from my consideration, because it wouldn't be fair to everybody else, at least in my humble opinion. If the Muppets were part of it, though, I think that I would give it to the Interrogation Song, which is Sam Eagle and Ty Burrell and Muppets Most Wanted. I mean, that movie's full of bangers, but I think that one we landed on it being my favorite when we did the episode. But let's take the Muppets out of the equation, just so that other people can shine, such as Charlie Korsmo in Can't Hardly Wait, with his rendition of Guns N' Roses' Paradise City.
Tremendous.
Yes. We praised the movie for not going with the easy pick. He didn't sing Welcome to the Jungle or Sweet Child of Mine. No, he went with not quite a B-side, but a song that's not as overplayed as the others. My other runner-up is from a movie that has a whole bunch of musical numbers. It might as well be a Muppet movie, except this one is set in Australia, and it's about the adventures of drag queens, the adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Guy Pearce, Terence Stamp, Hugo Weaving, just dressed in drag, performing a bunch of ABBA songs. For me, the most memorable moment is I Will Survive performance, which is in the middle of the desert. They're just wandering around. They run into a bunch of people, and they just bring them into their performance. It's a lot of fun. But the winner, somebody who's already been mentioned before. In fact, they got your award in the previous segment. Will Ferrell opening Semi-Pro with his soulful performance of Love Me Sexy.
Jackie Moon
just sets the tone for the rest of the movie. Guys, if you haven't seen Semi-Pro, just give it a chance. Listen to our episode. We spend a lot of time praising that movie because it deserves it. Damn it. And that song is definitely one of the highlights.
Jackie, Love Me Sexy is the worst song I've ever heard.
All right. How about you, Alex? Did you include the Muppets, or did you take the Muppets out?
Of course I did. What do you think? Who do you think you're dealing with here? No shout out for the Doof Warrior and Mad Max Fury Road. I thought that's where he would come up here.
Let's not push it. Mad Max already got an award for me.
Don't push your luck. Don't push your luck. All very good call outs, and I'm very glad. Part of me thought you were going to mention the Just Enjoy the Show song from fucking Moneyball, just to like get under my skin, that little girl. But so I'm grateful you didn't do that. Yeah, it was original song or whatever we're given here for musical performance, because musical sequence. I mean, the closing of Pan's Labyrinth is great.
Oh well, yeah.
The not final, but the big dance sequence with Romy and Michelle and Alan Cumming. That's set to, it's a Cyndi Lauper song, I'm almost positive of, but you have that. Do we really have any musical numbers in the Twilight series? I know we had that song 1,000 Years, which was like the hit of all hits at the time. Yeah.
Dude, after editing that episode, that song lived in my head for a day. I was just all melancholy. I would look at my wife, just longing, like, for 1,000 years, baby.
There's many musical sequences and Dazed and Confused, but yeah, the Muppets, I mean, I respect the move you made in removing them, Julio, but of course they're going to dominate the territory with
Yep.
the entries that we had. And surprisingly, to almost my own surprise, when it came pen to paper and I had to put one down, I also went with Muppets Most Wanted, but I went with The Big House.
That was my runner-up. I mean, that's those two are just top-notch.
I think that episode was also it. I don't think I know it was a reminder of that movie's really good. It just wasn't as good as the 2011 Muppets, and so people I don't think remember it in the same um, remember them on the same level, which is a shame because the musical numbers in that are really good. The best of which, in my opinion, being The Big House, Tina Fey, like you got Ray Liotta as a background dancer,
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. You don't realize it at the moment, but you have Josh Groban doing backup vocals, and just a great time. And one of those, Muppet songs are. Oh, we have Rainbow Connection on here for crying out loud, but Big House is one that will just live in your brain for a week after you see that movie.
I don't remember if Big House has an extended version, but Interrogation Song does, and you should look it up because it's really funny. It just adds like a few extra segments with Gonzo and like a couple other Muppets. It's what you want from that song. You just want them to go through every single member of the cast.
If you want to save your bacon. I appreciate again you, Julio, removing them from your field. That way it kind of balanced it out. But
that's what
all
we're
right.
all about. Balance.
We try to find something in between the certified fresh tomato and the nasty green splotch. It's what we do.
Yep.
And that's a good segue into our final award here for our video watchers and listeners, the best duo. No, it wasn't Julio and I again, but we
much like I did with the Muppets, we removed ourselves from the competition.
That's right. I mean, this was riddled with possibilities. I mean, you can pair up any of the Muppets, Kermit and Fozzie, Kermit and Piggy, semi-pro, be it Will Ferrell and Woody Harrelson, or Woody Harrelson and Andre 3000. Damned United, you had Michael Sheen and what's the name of the gentleman
Timothy
who's
Spall.
like Timothy Spall? There you go. Romeo and Michelle. I mean, right there.
Yep.
Some people, I guess, would have Phoebe Cates and Rick Mayall. There's like a dozen options from He's Just Not That Into You. You've got Arnold and the little kid from. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger along with his young sidekick and last action hero, Lighthouse. Any of the pairings in Twilight, Wake and Fright, Psycho. There's a deluge of options here, but I'm not even going to waste any time with runners up because I just mentioned a lot that are worthy of praise. But mine, I really didn't even have a hard time with this. Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill in Moneyball. I think every scene they share together in that, and we waxed poetic about the trade scene when they're both in the office together. But every moment those two share in that movie together is just it's you can't teach it is basically what I'll say about it. And the last scene with them is just phenomenal. It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor.
I know it's a metaphor. Pete, you're a good egg. So Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, I'm sure gladly will come and accept this together. I guess my understanding was correct, became buddies on the set, so I'm sure they're happy to rehash those emotions and good times that they had.
Share their award, watch the movie again. Just talk about
can
baseball.
you imagine like the movies we did, like barring reincarnation instituting reincarnation and the things we would need? This would be like the most star-studded affair of all time.
Yes, it can still be in your heads. Just picture it.
Anthony Perkins posing for a picture with like Joel McHale, like
with Vince Vaughn.
Yes, they're doing like the knife. There you go. All right, Julio, who did you have for best duo?
All right, so I'm glad that you went first on this one because that way I can take out Moneyball out of my little short list, so I can just put in another movie, which would be The Guard. As an honorable mention, Don Cheadle, Brendan Gleeson. The reason I didn't give it the win, even though I wanted to, is because I think that they spend a lot of the movie apart. I would say like 50% apart, 50% together. When they're together, they're really funny. When they're apart, they're funny on their own. But
If I remember correctly, that was one of our criticisms about the movie is like we wanted them to come together sooner. How they like team up at the end, we wanted that a little bit earlier
and stay together. Yeah.
Yes,
but they're great. They're really funny. Also, I mean, once again, to make life easier for myself, I just took the Muppets out. But if I had included the Muppets, Sam Eagle and Ty Burrell and Pierre, I mean, they would be up there. The Damned United, as you mentioned, Michael Sheen and Timothy Spall. That movie, the very rare. Oh God, what's the name of the director?
Tom Hooper.
The very rare Tom Hooper movie that got some praise from Alex Mattis, begrudgingly. But my winner is somebody that a duo that you already mentioned in passing, and that is Donald Pleasence and Gary Bond from Wake and Fright. A tumultuous relationship that starts with
one way of saying it.
Yes, it's not even antagonistic. It's more of a Gary Bond thinking he's better than Donald Pleasence, and just forming a bond with him, and then just a complete fallout that follows that relationship. They have sex. They get really drunk, go hunting for kangaroos, and then they wrestle, and then they have sex. And Gary Bond can't believe how crazy things can get in Australia. So it's a hell of a movie, and those two, I wouldn't say they carry it on their shoulders, but they kind of do. There's other actors there, but they're the two main performances. And they're
like
fantastic.
Short list of on-screen pairings that come to mind that have a better introductory scene that kicks off with a line of dialogue than Donald Pleasence saying discontent is the luxury of the well-to-do.
That's gonna be on your tombstone,
dude. That's gonna be up there with from Adventureland. I hope they call me Henry when I die too. That's one of my favorite lines from a movie, and that could be up there.
All right. Well, that was the pre-show awards. If you enjoyed them, well, fasten your seatbelts because there's a whole lot more in the main episode. We hit the big categories: best actor, best actress, supporting, movie, the GAD, the Ruffalo. I'm not gonna explain what that is. You'll find out when you listen to the episode. And of course, also we give the bad awards. So we call out the good and the bad that happened in the Contrarians over the last 12 months. So check that out. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll talk to you again soon.